What's up, witches? I'm Taylor.
And I'm Amber.
And this is
Waking Up the Witch. We're your neighborhood witches. Each week, we talk about all things witchy and connect with other humans in a storytelling format about navigating life on this floating rock.
We're two curious ladies trying to understand the human experience. But while we do that, we think it's important to honor the people that lived here before us and honor the cultures and traditions that we're being inspired by.
This podcast is about waking up the witch, which means we are learning and growing every day. That being said, we are always open to feedback on how we can do better.
The views and opinions of our guests don't necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Waking Up the Witch. Now, let's go, ghouls. Hey, Amber.
Oh, hi, my friend.
How's it going?
I feel fantastic right now. I feel a little high on caffeine, but besides that, I'm so happy about our guest today.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That was such a beautiful interview.
One of my favorites. I say that every time, but I mean it every time.
I think we just love this job we've created for ourselves and being able to connect with so many different types of people in the world, whether they're witches or not. And I don't know. This is a highly anticipated, highly desired interview. One of my favorite people that I have watched over the internet for a while. And I just can't believe that we got to hang out with her today.
So cool.
She's a beautiful soul.
That was good.
Yeah, I loved everything we got to dive into and really like super sex positive conversations, being able to speak openly about these things that have been taboo for so long. I'm really grateful that we could be a space to be able to talk about these things.
Yeah. I mean, even just being a witch openly was like frowned upon not that long ago, like literally sentenced to death.
Yeah.
And the idea of women getting pleasure has been not a thing for ever.
Yeah. And even like in more recent years, like there's been so much shame around if you are a woman or someone who identifies as a woman and you like to have sex, you have been shamed most likely. And I really hope that that is changing in the world, and it's people like our guests today who are going to help with that change in the world and creating a positive environment and positive conversations around this.
Making me think that like the more extreme, like radical self-acceptance we have, the more extreme sometimes the other side comes at us, because they're like, it's the devil. And you're like, no, I'm just like a little human having a little human experience. And like, I can touch and explore my own fucking body that I like live in every single day. And that's okay. Like, so many of us don't ever get to know our own bodies.
Yeah. Literally.
How they work, what they look like. And sometimes that's shame. Most of the time that's shame. Yeah.
Yeah. And just like, I know personally, I was really afraid of my pussy for a very long time, and not until probably most recent years did I actually like look at her with compassion and love and acceptance.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people have never seen their own vaginas. Vulva.
Yeah, equipment. Take a look. Embrace her. She's beautiful.
I need a haircut. My pubes start to grow like inward, where they like cover the slit like it's like a jail. She's like, no entry. So she needs a haircut.
You know what? But she's perfect with her hair.
Yeah, mullet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reverse mullet. I don't know.
It's a really powerful experience, honestly.
Yeah. The whole interview was great. I have probably a million more questions. I'm just feeling kind of slow today, so I wasn't as quick as I would have liked to be with some of the questions, but we got a lot out of that.
Yeah, and
hour.
I really trust to like everything that was supposed to come through really did. Of course, I feel like we're always left like wanting more from these interviews because there are just so many places we can go with people.
It's always like scratching the surface.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of things that she shared with us, she has just gone public with in the last couple of weeks. So I'm so excited for us to be a place for her to finally open up about all of that.
Totally.
That feels really special.
Absolutely. I feel very blessed to been able to connect with her today and to be a safe space for that. She very openly and vulnerably shared so much with us and just her journey and where she is now. I used to listen to her podcast when it was live. They haven't posted in over a year, but I think it's been a year, a little over a year, but have just like really fallen in love with her energy and everything that she has to share with the world. And it's been really interesting and amazing to watch her completely flourish and step into her authenticity. I think that's why I'm so attracted to her energy, is because she is somebody who really owns who she is. And I think that's a journey for everyone. And I'm sure there's still so many more layers for her to go. So it's going to be beautiful to watch her continue to unfold, but just very grateful for that energy to exist in our space.
Amazing.
And to hopefully inspire other people to own themselves and their desires. Because we're all worthy of being ourselves, and we're all fucking unique human beings for a reason. We're not supposed to be like everybody. And our journey here on earth is not to please other people. It is to grow.
Her job is kind of to please other people for money.
But she also very much is like, it's about her.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
But yes.
I'm like, yeah.
Absolutely. But just owning that authenticity, owning who she is, and I just see her like riding this unicorn into the world and, being like, here we go, surrendering, let's become this amazing goddess. It's just really inspiring.
Yeah.
And I just know that all of you are going to be so inspired as well, and hopefully allow you to accept parts of yourself that maybe you've been shamed about or hiding from, because you deserve to be accepted and loved in the world exactly who you are.
Well, I can't wait for you all to listen. This was so exciting, and
enjoy.
Welcome
to another episode of Waking Up the Witch. Let's just take a moment here to take some grounding breaths and connect our energy, starting with one big inhale in and release. And once again, breathing in and release. And this last one, breathing in all the love from your ancestors and the universe. Holding at the top. And exhaling any stress or worries you may have today. Yes. I'd like to call in our higher selves to be here with us today, as well as our ancestors and spirit team. Please wrap us in loving light, allowing us to connect more deeply, heal a little deeper, and find ourselves in someone else's story. Please allow for whatever is meant to come through today that is for the highest light and the highest good for all involved to come through. Thank you so much for another day here on this beautiful planet and to be able to connect with each other. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Taylor.
Hello.
Today is probably one of my most favorite days on the podcast. We have a very magical guest. Hello, Gigi.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Waking Up the Witch. Gigi is a phenomenal goddess. Please just introduce yourself. Tell the world who you are. We're just so happy you're here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, witches. I am Gigi Sauvage, and I know these witches from my show, Basic Witches, which is another witchy podcast.
Go give it a listen
So,
if you haven't. It's amazing.
yes. That one is co-hosted with my dear friend Leah Knauer, who's also a funny comedian like me. So,
Hey, Leah.
funny comedian. That's redundant. I'm a hilarious comedian.
Just so funny.
But yeah, I still consider myself a basic witch, even though I've been into magic for probably like 10 years now.
Yeah.
So do you want to hear it from the top?
Yep. Yes, please. Just tell us from the day you were born and your whole life, what has made you a basic witch in this world?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was born the youngest of 8 kids.
Wow.
And my parents were Catholic, so they didn't use birth control. They had a lot of kids, you know, the classic. And and I think that my soul's journey has been a lot of overcoming the like oppression and repression that patriarchal religions can cause. So also, I want to caveat that by saying, like, I had such a loving childhood. I had a home full of love and support, just not money because there was so many of us.
So many, yeah.
Yeah. So I had scrappy upbringings, and that also really informed who I am because now that I'm a witch, I know how to manifest more money, but I appreciate everything because I don't really come from much.
Where did you grow up?
Yeah, at Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
Like a small town outside of Cleveland.
Nice.
And I was going along. I was getting into acting in the community theaters. I even started doing this cable TV news show for kids.
Oh, how fun.
Nice.
Like I was a news host for other kids. But then I had really exhausted my opportunities in performing arts in Ohio. So my life really changed when I left. I was 15 years old. I convinced my parents to let me move to New York City, essentially alone.
Wow, at 15. They're like, you're the 15. Last one. Get the fuck out.
Love you, bye.
That was the benefit is like I had older siblings who did study abroad, you know, in college and stuff. So I could be like, well, they've gone to other places, you know. And I had a brother starting law school at the same time I was starting acting high school. So I got to go to New York, go to a performing arts high school. And I mean, that changed my whole life when that happened. Like that set up the rest of my life because not only in my career, you know, performing arts, but like where I came from in Ohio was this little white bubble. It was like suburbia, small town. And I literally had like one Asian friend, one Black friend, and both of those families moved out of the town by the time it was high school.
Yeah, wow. I grew up in a small town in Illinois, so like right there.
Yeah, Midwest, same. So getting to go to New York for high school and make new friends and experience new cultures and like all these different holidays. Like we had in New York, we had all the Jewish holidays off of school, and I was like, wow,
that's
cool.
Amazing. Good.
And you know, just living in New York City, it's a worldly experience living in New York. You literally hear people speaking French walking down the street, or like
so diverse,
Indian, or so diverse. So that really started to shape me living in New York and just experiencing that surrounding. And then, but I didn't know I was a witch until I moved to LA. So I stayed in New York for high school and college. I got an art degree. What was the point of that? I've never, ever had a job in entertainment that asked about my degree.
Yeah.
But whatever. I had a scholarship, so it wasn't too bad.
Thank God it's paid
good.
for.
Yes.
And I did play basketball in college, so that was like an experience too. College sports. But then literally, you guys, I could not wait to get to LA. I gave a speech at graduation at Radio City Music Hall, got it like from college, got in the car and left on my road trip to move to LA that day.
Amazing.
I was like, done.
Bye, bitch.
Bye, bitch. I always know when I have to go. Like that's how I figured out about that acting schools even exist in New York, because I was like, I got to get out of Ohio. And then I was like, I got to get out of New York. So then I got to LA, and about 3 years into living here, I met Leah, my co-host of Basic Witches. And we met in a musical improv class. Like I said, both funny comedians. And we really bonded because we both had this disdain for the patriarchy. And synchronistically, we had both been gifted the same deck of oracle cards, the goddess oracle cards, independently. Yeah. So we were like, what? And we would start just hanging out and experiencing magic together and having all these synchronicities happen. And we could appreciate it, both of us. And we realized we were witches. Like neither of us even used that word before.
I love that.
Yeah. And then, you know, the series of amazing guests we've gotten to have on Basic Witches, and like all these professional exorcists and demonologists and spiritualists and Taoists, like, and tarotists. We've learned so much, like, but that's the cool thing about witchcraft is like you're never done learning. So
yes, it's a lifelong journey of just plucking the different things that you are being called to. Like, I really feel like it's a part of our own soul's journey. There's a reason why we find fascination or curiosity in things, because even if it's just for a moment of learning or something like grander, more grand, whichever, you know, it's it's supposed to be there for us to learn and grow a little deeper.
Yeah. And then another thing that's coming to mind about my journey is how, you know, how witches are typically outcasts, like throughout history, marginalized people, the other outcast. I think I've just known I'm that my whole life. Like at first I felt like the outcast for being a poor kid in a rich neighborhood. Then I felt like the outcast because I love sex so much. And especially as a woman, there's some narrative that like guys want sex more or something, but I have a really high libido, and I'm really into it spiritually. And then like owning being a witch is what led to me eventually owning being a sexual being and owning like my past, where I come from. It's like that being a witch was like the gateway to owning my otherness. And I'm really happy about that.
Love that. So powerful, so beautiful.
It just makes it that you can like, you have the will, like you're able to accept yourself then, and then you can go deeper when you accept those parts of yourself.
Yes, exactly. Totally. Oh my gosh.
And I'm sure like you're owning the sex goddess piece of you too is just going to like take you deeper into these other levels of owning your authenticity and this part of your soul. Like as you grow through the rest of your life, you like, it's going to be so fun to watch, and how cool that we get to kind of have a little peep into that, you know. Thank you, social media.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, I feel the same, because I feel like the observer in my life now. And that's thanks to years of weekly therapy. Like I'm such a huge proponent of mental health and therapy. And I don't think I'll ever stop. I'm going strong. But it's allowed me to start to see my own life and watch it happen instead of being so zoomed in. And I'm with you. I'm like, this is entertaining as fuck. What's going to happen next?
Well, and you get to kind of surrender to the process too, and just be more in that allowing space instead of, you know, swimming upstream and like trying to fit in a box that someone's created for you.
I like calling it the observer because I never thought of it like that, but that's how I put shit in my life into perspective, because I'm like, holy shit, girl, like look around, you live by mountains, like you have your own business.
Yes.
And I like will look at myself from the outside, and that's how I can kind of be like, damn, why did I do all this?
Oh yes.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that. And I love what Amber said too about allowing, because that's a synchronicity. I was just talking about allowing with a friend last night.
Yeah.
And how it's just such a key, because I feel like for so long, I mean, patriarchal society, go, go, go. Like I was trying to force this career to happen. And now I'm like the combination of gratitude, like Taylor said, and allowing makes me feel like, you know what, it's just all gonna happen. It's all gonna happen. You can take the pressure off. Like it's already going.
Yep.
Let's just watch.
Well, you naturally become a magnet when you do surrender and live in that place of gratitude.
Yes. Have you guys heard about like manifesting from survival mode versus creative mode?
Ooh, no.
It's pretty simple, but
I mean,
basically
it makes
when
sense.
you're right, it's like self-explanatory, but when your nervous system is in fight or flight, or you're stressed, you're in survival mode, it's really hard to manifest from that place. But when you're in creator mode, which takes faith and trust before you really have the things you want, you just start to magnetize them in. And I'm seeing it, you guys. My life is crazy with manifesting right now.
I love that.
I love that.
I'm like, what? I'm not even trying. I had this like photo shoot fall into my lap the other day with a makeup artist and a photographer.
How far into your like witchy journey did you start working on manifesting, and then like start figuring out how it works, and then like seeing it all come to fruition?
Good question. I started right away. Like Leah and I were actively keeping lists and doing spells and stuff for manifesting. But it's such a marked difference to how I manifest now. It's like when I first started, for maybe the first few years, it felt very effortful. And it felt like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to do these exercises. And it worked, like some. But it wasn't until after my dark night of the soul, which was the trauma that I went through a few years ago, and healing from that, like now I'm a next level manifester. And I always want to caveat that by saying, like, I don't think you have to have trauma to become a better witch.
Yeah.
I think if it has happened, you can use it.
Yep.
You can use your healing as power.
And most people got some trauma, so
I mean, right, if you're going through the human experience, you probably have it.
Yeah, I don't believe you when you say you don't. So
I know, right? At least lowercase t trauma.
Yeah. I was trying to tell my mother that. And then she told her whole life story, and I was like, no, this is a giant T. Like, ma'am.
Giant T after giant T.
But yeah, I feel like there's so many strands of the journeys I've been on, you guys. Like, because like getting rid of the religious shame is one whole thread of my life. And then owning who I am sexually, getting into OnlyFans, getting into sex work, that's a whole nother strand. And they're all colored by like witchcraft, spirituality, and therapy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So beautiful.
So when did you realize that you did not align with like organized religion? Like how old were you?
Oh my gosh. I think I never did. I always knew. I would squirm around. I would doodle. I would get mad at what I heard in there. It never landed.
Yeah, same. We both grew up Catholic as well.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's interesting. Quick backstory. Like my mom, she's been lots of different things. She was raised Catholic and Lutheran. And then in her 20s found Wicca, and actually was Wiccan for a little while when I was like probably around 10, 12. And then something happened. I don't know. And she had this beautiful broom that she built. And then ended up burning her. And like she used to anoint her. She'd stand. She was like magical as fuck. Don't touch her. She had a name. And then she ended up burning her and just became Catholic. And now she's like so
Oh, wow.
Catholic, and we could barely even talk about that time, which is so interesting because me and my siblings are very heavily influenced from that time, I think, where it's, you know, it was like, well, this, you know, I don't practice Wicca, but, you know, this avenue feels a little bit more in sync and in the soul of the life that we're living, and going to church and doing all of that was very uncomfortable. I went for the boys.
Oh, lucky you had something to look at.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Like, I'll go to youth group. Yeah, it's interesting, just the similarities.
But you know how, like, at least in my case, I'm similar, like, we didn't latch onto it, but yet the ideals still got into my head and even into my imagination.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because it wasn't
feeling that shame.
Big time. Like, it wasn't until after I got broken up with around age 26 out of an 8-year relationship. So it really shook me. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, I've still been having all this guilt and shame, even with a long-term boyfriend. This is coming from religion. That's where I really started to, like, do the work to get it out, to excise the demons of the religion.
How old were you when you lost your virginity?
15. No, maybe 14 or 15.
Well, that's the same.
And I had no education, so I didn't know it was bad. I mean, the sex was fun, but the safety protocol was bad because I didn't know anything.
Because they don't teach you.
They only teach you the fear pieces of it, which leads to you must stay abstinent.
Someone in my husband's family got pregnant because she was told that you get pregnant by kissing. And so she did everything else when she was like 14 or 15. And then they were like, actually. So
case in point.
Exactly.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about kind of like the healing powers of sex work and like what that means to you.
Yes. Okay. So I originally started discovering the healing powers of sex work with sugar dating, which is kind of like gray area sex work-ish. Not really technically.
Is that like a sugar baby, sugar daddy situation?
Like a sugar baby,
Okay.
And I used to date this couple. It's like a full relationship, so it's not one-for-one sex and money. That's why it's technically not sex work. But you know, you develop this relationship, and there's some aspect of money involved too. And I have a money kink, so I get off on the power of somebody giving to me in that currency, and then I like to give to them in sexual energy. So I was dating this married couple for a while, and I'm queer, so I like all the different genders, non-binary. So I liked being with the husband and the wife, and I felt like the most insane power surges of my life starting getting into that. The only thing was I was keeping it all a secret, so like I didn't get to celebrate it with many people.
How old were you?
I was like 27, 28, something like that.
Were they hot?
And 32 now. Yes, yeah, they were. But I want to say they don't have to be. I can get off on not hot people. Like if you treat me right and you're worshiping me and you're giving to me, like that turns me on. And sometimes it even turns me on if the other person is traditionally unattractive. Makes me feel like this sparkling diamond. Like,
interesting. You are a sparkling diamond.
Thank you. And it's like, I mean, what a boost to your confidence, you know, to be with someone who like you're both clear on the fact that I'm the pretty one or whatever, like, and you just let me have that. Like, how refreshing. You don't get that a lot in life, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. So it felt really powerful because I was doing what I wanted, and I was being rewarded generously for it in this currency that made my life easier, money, you know? So like, And then I fell in love with someone and put it on pause for a while because he was down with all of it. Like he was down with me fulfilling my sex work fantasies, but it was confusing in my heart space to maintain so many relationships.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said, sugar dating, if you do it the way I do it, it becomes like a full-on relationship. So I had a little pause there, but ever since being single a couple years ago, I got back into it, and I took it to the next level by becoming a courtesan at a legal brothel in Nevada. And the healing went to the next level too.
And what does that mean?
That means, so sex work is only legal in Nevada in counties of less than, I think, like 90,000 people or something. So Vegas, all that sex work that goes on there is illegal. And in the rest of the country, it's illegal. But there are brothels that have a license. And as a courtesan, I have to have a business license. I have to be like background checked. All these, there's a lot of like logistics. But then I become a legal sex worker. And as such, I'm an independent contractor. So it's kind of like a, gig economy, like Uber.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I'm running my own business at this brothel, meaning I choose all my clientele. I say no all day long. There's a million safety measures in place. Like legal sex work is so fucking cool. And I truly didn't know before a couple years ago. But yeah, it's, to me, it's like kind of safer than dating in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So, as I've been single for a couple years now, it's kind of served as a way to have intimacy too, and just in a really controlled, safe environment. And I make so much money. So I love that.
Yes, Queen.
How long are you still doing that?
Yeah, so it's freelance. We make our own schedules, and you like courtesans go for 1 week at a time.
Okay.
And then we can stay longer, but you have to just do like at least a week. And I just am so busy writing, you guys. I haven't been back in months, but I'll go back. I'm excited to go back.
That's so nice to have that in your tool belt, and to not only feed your bank account, but also your soul, and just having that intimacy.
Can I ask what the money's like?
I legally can't say much, but let me think of how I could say it. Like, how can I say this? Maybe what I could just say is like, I went from working minimum wage jobs to making 6 figures in a few weeks.
Lovely. Okay. Fuck yeah.
I was like, hold up some fingers.
Yeah, I think legally, like, I don't know. I mean, I think I could say like, for people who were going there to spend money, they should be prepared to spend more like they're shopping for a car than shopping for groceries.
Hell yeah.
More like they're going on a luxury vacation than a day at the spa.
Yes.
Amazing.
That's a great way.
Sometimes, that sounds great. I do sometimes look at some sex work and I'm like, you should be paid a little bit more for that.
Oh, like, for sure. Well,
like,
what's
I don't
so
think
cool about
$1,000 in a day would really like jazz me up enough.
Yeah.
Right. What's so cool about the brothel I work at least, is there's no limits. And since I'm running my own business, I set my own prices.
Fuck yeah.
So it can be as high as you want. And there are some crazy cool stories about that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so they don't limit you, which I think is a really good business model.
Yeah.
Can you tell any stories?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I would love to hear some
from
stories.
The ranch,
yeah.
How empowering.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, it's so empowering. I can kind of just paint you a picture of what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that.
You essentially move out there to the desert for a week, and you pay room and board to have your room there that you're running your business out of. But it's also a resort, so there's like all these facilities and rooms that with a client you can use that are really cool. And there's like little houses, you can have bubble baths, you can make it like a date night, you can get kinky. There's like different kink rooms. And I'm living there and working there for that week. So I keep my room as like a really sacred space. And then, you know, I love to get dressed up in my different outfits. Maybe it's lingerie one day, maybe it's some really cool dress another day. And then I can either have somebody come in by appointment, or I might meet them in the bar there. So there's like a lounge bar area where you can just get to know people before deciding if you might want to move forward together.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's how it
Feel the
usually
energy.
happens. Yes, totally. And as a witch, I have a superpower because I can literally walk in that bar and be like, no, 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 yes, that person. And I can just read them. And so, yeah, you kind of can get to know someone, and then when it comes time to move forward, you go to a special place and you negotiate, and you have to agree on time, money, and activity. And that's where they get to see some of my art, and they get to, you know, learn about my pricing and stuff. And then I'm kind of curating it with them. I'm reading them and I'm figuring out like, okay, what are their needs? What do they want? Usually they're incredibly nervous. Most people are really nervous.
How sweet.
Because, you know, yeah, maybe they haven't had sex in a really long time, or they're not good with women, or they're just nervous about spending so much money. So I do a lot of kind of energy work as we're talking, just to let that kind of neutralize. I spray a lot of lavender. And then once we agree on something, which in my case, it usually looks like my sort of persona is this goddess, you know, so most of my clientele are there to make me feel good. It's less about like me servicing them. It's more about them making sure I'm happy. And we both get off on that. But anyways, we agree. And then what I love is I get to then perform a visual STI inspection on them.
Yes.
So I get to have them take down their everything, and I get trained in this. So I have like gloves and alcohol and a light and everything. And I do a full visual inspection of the genitalia.
Amazing.
That's kind of hot too.
Yeah.
Like,
usually I'm like
your nurse now.
Yes. I like to throw in jokes there for sure. I'm like, no insurance required. Or like,
amazing.
This one's on the house. And then as long as they look all good, we move forward. And then it's just, it feels so good to have someone want you so bad that they would pay that much money just to spend time with you. Like, and it's crazy too, because it's not always sex. Like a lot of times it's talking or me dancing. Yeah. I'd say like maybe 60% of the time it's straight up intercourse, but it's a lot more creative than that. Like and that's what I love about it. I'm like, this is the next art form for me, you know, like sex work is so creative.
Love that for you.
You have regulars.
After all, sex is how we create humans.
1000%.
Yeah, I have some fans, but I don't go that often. So I do tend to get more new people. But you know, I've had some regulars. I have a lot of virgins, and it's so nice.
What an incredible first time experience for them.
Right?
That's amazing.
I mean,
way less traumatic.
I'm like, and believe it or not, a lot of like uncles or dads will bring in their son or nephew who's a virgin and pay for it for them.
Yeah,
and like that. Just to let them get the experience with a professional who knows what she's doing.
That's amazing. And to help instill a little bit of confidence for them too, I'm sure.
I feel like teach them stuff too.
Yeah, for sure.
And be like, be respectful.
Oh, they always ask questions.
How amazing.
Don't even worry. I all that. Yes. No better way to initiate them than by a goddess who will, you know, empower them with information.
That's so beautiful.
That's worth the money.
That's fucking incredible.
And I also have like I've had 80-year-olds, I've had people with disabilities, like autistic people, women, men, couples. It's so cool.
How much time do you say on average somebody books out with you?
I would say average is like 45 minutes to an hour,
Okay.
but yeah, and then 2 and above is like rare, but it happens probably each time I'm there at least once. What's so cool is since the experience is so heightened, even if they are only doing an hour, it feels like 3 hours to them. Because they're taking it all in so intensely. Yeah.
I also feel like there'd be power and be like, oh, like the bell rings and you're like, all right, goodbye.
Yes.
Get out.
Yep.
It's been nice. See ya.
What do
Yes.
you do?
You have to be on top of that.
I love that.
Yeah.
What do you do after a session with somebody and like to, clear your energy and just kind of reset your space for you?
I usually go and be by myself for a
Mm-hmm.
while. I light Palo Santo and I watch a show because it kind of takes my mind off of things and just reset. And then also there's a hot tub and pool, so I might like go in the hot tub and use the water to reset.
Cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a Scorpio too, so I'm sure that's like a beautiful healing tool for you.
Exactly. Baths all day.
How amazing.
Is there anything else you would like to elaborate on that or like give us any more info on the brothel?
I mean, yeah, I just want to talk about the other women there, the other courtesans, because they're also all walks of life, just like the clientele. Unfortunately, there's no male courtesans at this point. It's kind of straight like that. It's just women. But as far as the women goes, it's all different races, all different ages. There's courtesans who are also doctors and lawyers. There's grandmothers. And I love getting to know the other women and their amazing stories. Like I feel like the type of women who are doing this are all resourceful, smart, like badass women. That's all I could say is everyone I meet there is a fucking badass. Like super cool.
That's so awesome. And like really great to be able to get those connections and to be able to share in those experiences together because they are so unique. I'm sure it's hard for some people maybe in your circle to totally understand what you're doing and to be able to have, a community of other people that you can share in that with as well.
Yes. And they tend to be in the witchy community too.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yes, a lot
Witches
of the women
who fuck.
there.
Yeah.
Yes. Taylor's joining.
Yeah, that was a question I was going to have.
We do magic.
That's so fucking awesome. Hell yes.
Yeah, because like the grounds there, like the ground that it's in the desert in Nevada. You guys, it's such powerful ground because think about it. All day long, people are orgasming there and feeling so happy.
Give me chills.
Yeah.
So the energy there is like, I've used it for some insane manifesting. It's so cool. And most of the courtesans do magic there.
Oh, that's so fucking awesome. You just like
really cool.
Go out in the desert together and hold hands and call in all the good shit.
Yes, and there's certain little rituals that I think I have to keep secret, but
of course.
They're fun and funny and powerful.
That's amazing. That's so magical.
So you were talking about magic and we're talking about sex. So can you tell us like what sex magic is and like what that means?
So sex magic is manifestation magic. It's using an intention coupled with the energy of your build and release sexually to manifest. So I do this often on my own with solo sex. And I am someone who can orgasm, but you don't have to orgasm for this to happen. All you have to do is build up that energy, do the foreplay, do the arousal, and all the while have an intention. So like I did one recently that I can tell you about because it already came true. So I feel like I'm not fucking with it. So I wanted to manifest magnetization, like getting bigger exposure for myself, career-wise. And in this case, I had a willing partner who wanted to do sex magic with me. So we both talked about this intention that was shared. He wanted magnifying also. And then as we were having like the session of sex, we kept kind of using that in the dirty talk, like you're magnified, or like say my name, like I'm magnified. And then when we orgasmed, we kind of yelled it. It's bonus points if you do that. You don't have, I'm double Scorpio, I do it intense. You could just think it. So we yelled it, and then not even like a week later, I got one of my stories in Cosmopolitan onto the main page of Cosmopolitan.
Damn,
so like
awesome.
Magnified. And I did nothing but the sex magic. Like the article I wrote was already out there. It was sitting. I did the sex magic, and then they chose to pick up that article and put it on the main page. It's like,
that's crazy.
What?
I guess that I have been doing that without knowing there was a name for it. I'm always like visualizing like me being awesome and like rich when I'm orgasming, maybe just like when I'm mostly masturbating. But I didn't know there was a name for it. I'm just like seeing like my future house and like the way it looks and stuff. Like, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm coming.
You're doing it. You're doing it. That's so cool.
Well, that's what I thought in my mind. I was like, well, it feels like a really intense moment. I'm probably like amplifying something. So.
Exactly. And isn't the whole point of manifesting is like once you let go, then it comes to you. And an orgasm is a let go. Like,
wow. Love that. Do you feel like your journey with sex and exploring yourself sexually started after your breakup? Or did you always feel like super sex curious before?
Yes. No, that's actually a direct yes to that question, because it was so I had this 8-year relationship, and that's the one where when it ended, I realized, oh, I'm not really living my life for me. I still have those religious ideals in my brain. I had felt in that relationship like a weirdo for having such a high sex drive, but I really had it. And I had even asked that partner, do you mind if I like explore this sex work itch? Could I, sugar date or something on the side? That was a no. But as soon as we broke up, I was like, got on that website, seeking arrangements, and started out. So yeah. And that was really the beginning. And then eventually OnlyFans. And then eventually the brothel. That's kind of the order that happened.
How did you get into and start your OnlyFans? And how long have you been doing that?
A few years of that. And it was really scary starting the OnlyFans, because that was the only public form of sex work-ish that I had ever done, because I was hiding all this stuff about sugar dating, and I wasn't at the brothel yet. But I had survived a really crazy sexual assault. And I just say crazy because normally sexual assaults are unfortunately committed by someone we know. This was like a total psychopathic stranger who broke into my house and assaulted me. And
my God.
Yeah. So after healing from that, I was like, next level, I'm going to live my life for me. First the breakup, then the assault. I was like, no, like I really want to live my life for me, because I just saw my life flash before my eyes. I thought I was going to die that day. Yeah. So that's my dark night of the soul, was healing from that. And when you come out of it and you realize you're actually grateful to be alive, and nothing matters so much like you thought it did because you almost died, so you see things really fucking clearly. That's when I got on OnlyFans, because I was like, what the fuck is holding me back? And also, I interviewed amazing women who were on OnlyFans on my show, Basic Witches, and I admired them so much. And I was like, they're doing it out loud. Literally, why am I not? Only because of my parents' religion still.
Yeah.
So
That's real.
Changed that, got on there. Yes. And I got on OnlyFans. Yeah, it was back in early 2020, I think. And it was scary though at first. It was scary. But it's become such a haven for me because just like at the brothel, I'm in control. I'm running my own business. So I do it my way. I don't do porn per se, but I do really sensual music videos where I dance and strip and like I make art by painting with my body parts instead of a paintbrush, or you know, I do all kinds of crazy like avant-garde art in there.
That's awesome.
I love how connected you are to your sacral chakra. Like everything you're doing is just healing everything with that. And I think for most people, like 99.99999% of people like have very closed, dirty, not working well sacrals.
Lucky.
And I mean, obviously yours has been a journey to do that, but now you are fully like, you are all orange and sparkly and bright and just like living in that healing energy constantly.
Thank you.
I love it.
Because sacral chakra is sex, power, money, death, and rebirth, and creativity.
Creativity.
So that's like,
it's everything.
You're right. I just live there. And my rising sign is also Scorpio. So kind of makes sense.
Okay.
Like I'm meant to be right there for Aries.
Wow, that is a spicy little combo.
I know. I'm like, I am intense. I experience life intensely.
That is amazing.
There's no doubt about that. I was, and that Aries moon was like, I was a tantrum child. So intense, you guys. Oh man.
But now you're just owning that energy and you're like, this is who I am. I love it.
And I use all my power for good. So it's like now you know what was a huge part of the journey we kind of didn't hit on was like clearing my blocks to receiving. Because to be a goddess, you have to receive. You're living in the feminine energy. So the yin part of the yin yang. And so many of us that are identify as women have blocks to receiving. And
so interesting because we literally receive sexually.
Exactly.
Like our bodies are designed. To receive.
And somewhere along the way, I identified that and then started intentionally working on being better at receiving. It started with receiving help because I was so toxically independent. I never asked for help. And that was another beautiful gift that traumas gave me because it was like after the breakup, I had to ask for help. After the assault, I had to ask for help. Those were little windows into receiving. And then I started adding in, okay, I'm willing to receive the compliments given to me instead of brush them off or immediately compliment the person back. Like just to throw it back. And then OnlyFans helped with receiving because people were giving me money, you know, and sugar dating helped with that. But then next level receiving really came at the ranch, which is the shorthand for the brothel. Because I found this phenomenon there that a lot of men were coming in, married men were coming in to see me because they knew they could pour their adoration into me and I would accept it and say thank you. And they shared that their wives aren't doing that. They're not willing to receive. Yeah. So
that's not the answer you think it is, really.
I know.
That's so interesting.
Right?
Well, it just goes to show that it is like a larger issue. Many women struggle.
Oh, yes. I know. Where are you guys at with your receiving journeys?
You know, I've definitely struggled with that in the past, and something like I'll catch myself like a friend wanting to celebrate me and buy me a coffee or a mimosa or something and be like, oh, you don't have to do that. That's usually my response. And I'll catch myself and I'll be like, no, how about thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you want to shower me with this treat. I will take it. And I'm at the point of like, I'll say the old habit, but catch myself in it and be like, no, because I want to receive. I want to receive anything that's meant for me. And this is something that is meant for me. And it is a struggle, like, because same thing, like needing someone to help you feels like you're powerless, but that's really not what it is.
It's really just vulnerability, which is powerful.
Yes, absolutely.
And that other person wants to give to you.
Exactly.
That was a key for me, is like, it actually gives them pleasure to give to me. So why don't I let them do it?
And I'm such a giver. Like I feel turned on and happy, like giving people things. I love to spoil people. So I also deserve to be spoiled if someone wants to do that for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you, Taylor?
I'm like thinking back, and so my toxic relationship, I was very much like, I was young, and like he had the money, and I was like, I feel like kept broke on purpose to be more dependent on him. And then after that was a real like, fuck you, I'm never gonna lean on anybody for anything ever. And I think maybe I still do that with my money, like my business wise, but like, I need to have this so no one can ever take anything away from me, like the safety, security, like whatever. But other than that, I'm real open to receiving whatever. I'm like, sure, yeah, give it to me. I'll take it.
Gimme.
Yeah, I'm really fine.
Yes. Well, I'm so glad for all of us, because as all recovering Catholics, we were definitely taught that it's selfish to receive. And you should always give to others, and you should be the martyr. So I'm glad we're all on the journey to heal that.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I paid enough attention ever in church to really know what was going on. I did like the weekly classes, but I don't really.
Sunday
like
catechism.
It was on Wednesdays. It was called PSR, but it was like a Bible study, and I'd always be like, but that doesn't make sense. Why are they doing that? They're like, shut up and sit down. And like, quit asking questions.
Like you asking questions.
Yeah.
With that being said, like, is your family in the know of, you know, what you're doing now for work?
So it's crazy, because I just got to have the most generationally healing trip with my mom surprise visiting me out here in California, and alone without my dad, who's maybe the even more religious one. And I got to download her on most of this stuff that we're talking about. And it's crazy, because her mom, my grandma, was born and raised in Hungary, and she was a nun. Yes.
I'm part Hungarian also. Sorry.
Oh my God, yes!
Wow.
Love that.
I can see it.
God. Yeah, we have a similar face shape, I feel like.
So she was a nun?
So she was a nun. Yeah, she like loved this boy when she was 16, but her parents didn't approve, and so she had to go be a nun in a convent for 13 years until she immigrated to America. And it's a cute, I know. It's a cute story though, because like my Hungarian grandfather, they met like the night before getting on the boats. Very American dreamy.
Yeah.
And now I'm here. Like, what are the chances? But she, you know, to go from like one generation is like forced to be a nun to 2 generations, I'm a sex worker. That's pretty healing.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah. Deep healing and quick healing too.
Yeah. And my mom and I got to talk about that. And she was able to understand, even with her religious views, that what I'm doing is spreading love and empowerment, and I'm healing people with my sexual energy. And she kind of brought up how like Jesus even loved the prostitutes. And I was like, of course he loved them. They're doing the Lord's work. Like they're healing people. They're making people feel whole and better. And like sex is one of our 5 houses of health. It's literally a health need. So
it's
we were able to
also
talk
the
about
oldest profession ever that's ever existed. Like, ever.
Like something's working, obviously. But I didn't go into detail about being a legal courtesan at the ranch with her. I just talked about sex work in general. And, you know, we understood each other. It was really fucking healing.
That's so powerful.
Yeah, it makes me way less nervous to do interviews like this.
Good.
At least they know a little something, and that's enough They don't have to know it all, but that's, we're clear.
I kind of want to circle back a little bit to the OnlyFans. To me, it's so like the scariest part of it is like it's the internet, right? It's there forever.
Yeah.
But
that shit's out there.
aside from that, like as far as sex work goes, it seems like one of the safest options because it's low commitment to other people, and like as long as you're being safe, there's not a lot that can like harm you physically. And so I really just love that as like a way to either start or just having that be your only thing, because sometimes if like you're a dancer, you're putting yourself in uncomfortable situations sometimes, or if you were doing sex work and you didn't have as much control, I guess, as you do over yours, like it could get sketchy. And OnlyFans seems like just the perfect medium.
Yeah, I love it. I really am grateful for it because it's such a safe space for me to, like I said, create whatever I want and express however I want. And yes, that is something that I had to be okay with from the beginning. I was like, as soon as I hit upload, this is out there for the whole world to see, because I've Googled it before. People rip my shit and put it on like other sites. Like people take my stuff and they go and make money off of it. But you know what? That happens on Instagram too. There's a Basic Witches account making money scamming people using our pictures and our voices. It's like so I just like, you guys, I live with a lot of blinders on, and I think with a career where I'm putting myself in the public eye, I'm also slapping the letter A to me, like Scarlet Letter. I'm saying I'm a whore. Like I have to keep the blinders on. I have to not read comments, and I kick people out of my OnlyFans if they're at all, if I don't like the vibe at all, just you're gone, have a refund, bye-bye. But for the most part, like 99% of it, I attract in great fans that are, it's such a nice place to get worshipped. Like imagine your self-esteem,
Oh, totally.
They're just
amazing.
loving on you all day. You just like post a little thing and they love you. And they give you money.
I've never taken the like term whore or hoe or slut. Like it's never hurt my feelings. Ever. Like it's always like, don't call me fat, don't call me ugly, but like I'm a hoe. Like who cares? It's not like anytime somebody tried to like shame me that way, I'm like, try again. Something else.
Because that's a compliment. Thank you.
So do you have a lot of friends that are in your circle that are also sex workers?
I have a couple. Yeah.
What about moms that are sex workers?
Well, I can tell you that at the brothel, at least like 70% of the women working there are moms. I mean, I feel like one of the few that doesn't have kids.
Love that.
So empowering.
Like, so badass.
Do you have any dominatrix friends or anybody in that kind of part of the industry?
I do. I know some people who are like intimacy coaches and dominatrixes out in LA, or definitely at the ranch. There's like super professional ones who do it in porn and at the ranch. Cool. And then I consider myself a nurturing dom as the goddess, because I'm the one in control and calling the shots. I just am not a leather clad like BDSM dom per se.
Cool.
But I will spank you. Like I will hit.
Torturing men just really excites me. So
I've gotten the opportunity, you guys. It's so, oh my gosh. I've gotten to penetrate men in their assholes.
Amazing.
And the power.
Yes. You're like, okay, I get it.
I'm like, yes.
I just got my first spanking tool a couple of months ago. Our poor little dog gets really terrified by it, though.
How does the dog know?
Look away.
Let me out of here. I did have a thought that came up earlier that just resurfaced. Have you ever thought about like teaching people how to like talk dirty in the bedroom or kind of help, create this more, I don't know what you would say, I guess just confidence in the bedroom. Like, because for me, like talking dirty, I just think it's hilarious. And I have such a hard time with it. And my husband, he like really gets into it. And, I've always wanted to help him with that, but it's just, I can't help but laugh. I just think it's so silly, which is also like a whole nother beautiful part of sex, that we get to laugh in the bedroom so much. But I just think you'd be so good at something like that, and you're just so like nurturing, and you're like, yeah, good job, let's do this.
So I have actually written an article about this that isn't published anywhere yet, but I am going to try to get it published somewhere, where I broke down dirty talk into like 3 easy go-tos for people who feel silly about it. So it's pretty much written for you. And just to have in your back pocket, like dirty talk could be compliments. That's really easy. Just saying stuff you like about what's going on. Like, oh, I love how you're rubbing me there. Like, oh, look at your cock or whatever. And then commands. So you could be saying like, I want you to lick me here, or stop, go down to get on the floor. I don't know, commands. And then I can't remember what was the third way I broke it down, was like, feedback. So if they're doing something to you, just saying how much you like it.
Yeah, that's been like kind of my practice when I am trying to do it. It is more of like, okay, that feels good, stay there, or keep doing that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's this like sex goddess inside of me that is yet to be born, and I keep breaking pieces of these different things, like Mama Gina. I've taken tons of her courses, and things like that, where I'm like,
her up there. Yeah.
Oh, she's incredible. But just like really trying to feed my energy with that, and it does help. Like, I have grown so much more confident, and I like to get in lingerie, and we like to have toys, and and he is very much about pleasing, which is wonderful. I feel so lucky for that. So I'm like, I really could have whatever I want if I just learned how to use my voice.
Yes, and voice and sex are connected.
Exactly. Yep.
And that's still probably Catholic shame.
Yeah, maybe so.
Right?
Yeah.
Stopping it here. But what was I going to say about that? I was going to recommend Mama Gina, because when you were speaking, it made me think, are you looking at your pussy enough? Are you open enough?
I used to not. Like, I was very closed off from her, which I think it's still like there's still healing to be done for sure. But I drew a picture of her, like definitely way more involved in her life.
Yeah. Because I was thinking like your partner might like anything you can say about her, or what she's liking, what she's feeling. Sometimes I go into full third person, and I'm like, we're basically having a threesome. It's me, my pussy, and you.
I love that idea.
Yeah, and I'm like, she wants you to do this. She wants you to do that.
That would probably help, honestly.
It helps because it's
just like get in your mind too much.
Yeah, it's a little bit of permission, because you're not saying I. It's not an I statement. So I recommend.
I love that. Well, thank you for that little breakdown. I look forward to finding your article in the world when it comes out.
Yeah.
Is there any other like offerings or things, that magical ways that people could work with you, or things that you want people to know that you are putting out into the world, where they can go find your art?
Yeah, I would love to send listeners to my website, gigisauvage.com. There you can get to all the social media stuff, and you can also see my art for sale, my deck of oracle cards, which we'll get into in a few. And you can get to my OnlyFans. And you can also watch my career in Hollywood develop, because
wonderful.
We're going places, baby. We got Cosmopolitan. We got
lots of congratulations on that. I love seeing you share that. It's very exciting.
I love writing erotica. It's so rewarding. So stay tuned. I plan to be an original show creator for HBO or something like that. So,
yes, you will.
Fuck yeah.
Manifesting that, baby.
It's happening.
When I wanted to add one thing.
Oh, yeah, please.
When you were talking about your great grandma, I was just remembering that my mom said when she was here recording, Okay. Oh, two things. Not what you were just laughing about, but my great grandfather was apparently a gigolo.
Oh, nice.
So that's really
What?
interesting.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Amber's laughing because I found out when we were interviewing my mom last week that my grandfather died inside of my grandma on top of her, like heart attack, like while they were fucking.
He said he wanted to die having sex.
And he did.
Wait. Were they elderly?
No, he died before I was born, so I just never knew this information. And my mom was like, "Oh yeah, blah blah." I'm like, "Wait, slow down,
Rewind."
Did you just say what I think you said?" She was like, "Yeah."
Oh my gosh, I'm just like, I mean,
yeah.
I'm perplexed because it's kind of a really good way to go if you have to go.
That's what brought you here.
But like, I mean,
Full circle.
legend, but that's full circle.
Yeah, circle of life.
Crazy. Oh my gosh.
So we have a couple of questions that we like to ask everybody before we end the podcast. And one of those questions is if you could tell your younger self, whether that's your younger self yesterday or your younger self all the way when you were little, one thing, what would it be?
I'm just hearing it's all gonna work out, baby. It's all gonna work out.
Fuck yeah.
That's it. She just needs to know that.
Yeah, when we're little, we just are always so worried, I feel. Maybe not always, but you know, you do have, I remember growing up with like, I'm afraid to die all the time. It's like now I don't really have that fear anymore. Maybe that is also growing up under the Catholic Church at some point in my life. Everything's so
true.
Death all the time.
Born a sinner.
And you're going to hell.
Yeah. So refreshing to be with fellow.
I love that so much. Our other question is, what is like one thing that you just can't live without for self-care?
Ooh, such a good question. Immediately, I'm hearing music. Music is with me throughout like all of the day. It's just so comforting to me. Yeah, so it's huge self-care.
Same.
I love that so much. So powerful, so healing.
So it would be crazy for us to not ask you to do the honors of the card pull since this is your deck.
Yes, please tell us a little bit about your deck, the Sexiest Deck Alive, and you know anything you want to tell us about it. And then definitely we would be so honored to have you pull a card for us.
Yes. Oh, it's my pleasure. So the Sexiest Deck Alive. Of course, I had to have a little humor in there. And these are erotic oracle cards that I made. They're all digital collage. And it was a really fun journey making them and writing the messages on them. I kind of let it just all come through me. And then I tried to print them in China and they said, no, there's too much nipple. And sent me back my money and I got them printed in the US. And they're fucking gorgeous.
They're so beautiful. I got my deck right here.
Oh my God,
one of the first. The first.
The first. Oh my God, yes. I'm so honored. So you've had them for a while.
Oh yeah.
And
I guess it's probably like a year and a half almost now, huh?
Nice. Yeah, at least. Time is crazy.
I know. What is time?
So with this deck, I recommend you get messy. Like there's no right or wrong way to pull from this deck. It's the feminine energy. It's all
we love messy.
Mess. Yeah. So just now I shuffled and I just pulled one for us. Ooh! We got Give 'em Hell.
Yeah.
It shows me in booty shorts.
Yeah, it's like, look at that ass.
With the thank you. I make a lot of money off that ass. We love it. There's some naked women dancing amongst the flames in the background. And it says, life is short shorts. You're allowed to want what you want. You need to give hell to anyone that stands in your way. Burn it down to build it up, baby.
Fuck yeah.
The most like Catholic episode for us to pull hell.
Yeah.
We are witches.
Yes, baby.
It's a very tower moment.
Very tower. It's
yes,
also
burn it down.
Gonna be Aries season in just a sec. Or no, is that today?
Right. It starts like
today or tomorrow.
Today, tomorrow.
Yeah. So that's also very wild. That's very Aries energy.
Yeah. Oh shit, the cards don't lie. So to anyone listening, like whatever you're stopping yourself from for some reason that's not coming from your heart, no, question it. Burn down whatever those ideas are and let yourself come through the flames. Authentically, because it says you're allowed to want what you want. So this is about desire. Like, don't let anyone tell you you're wrong for that.
Fuck yeah.
Well, and also full circle as you're talking about like your big relationship and how you really couldn't be who you were, and you had to burn that down to then really start to, you know, dive into who you are and getting your desires fulfilled to where you are now.
Yes.
So beautiful.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Thank you, cards. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that so much.
Where can everybody find you?
You can go to gigisauvage.com and find all the goods.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
Oh,
so
this has
good.
been like, I knew this was going to just be like hanging out with a friend and super flowy and lovely. And it totally was. So grateful for your time and energy today and to be able to connect with you in this way. I fucking love you. I'm inspired by you. And I know that everyone else is also going to feel the same. You are a goddess.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure.
And go drink some water.
Take a nap.
Yes.
Yes. Watch a show.
Yeah.
Masturbate.
Meditate.
Yeah. Levitate.
Oh, yes.
Thank you
Love
so
that.
much.
Love you, witches.
Find us on TikTok and Instagram at Waking Up the Witch.
Please email us your witchy stories, ghost stories, corrections, and advice questions to wakingupthewitch@gmail.com.
Love you.
Love you.